25 years after they did their last live appearance. The band I'm talking about are Beckett, a very well-known northeast band many years ago. Back together, we've got the guys in the studio. First, though, let's hear a song they released as a single way, way back. This is Little Girl.
When I wake up in the morning, I see the sunrise in the sky, and there's blue skies with the dawning. When I look, it makes me smile. Every time I get a feeling, getting older all the time. Through this lifetime that we're playing, I search for words that will rhyme for you and I. Little girl, I think I love you. Little girl, I think you're fine. Little girl, I'm dreaming of you. Little girl, I'm glad you're mine. I'm just waiting for my sunshine girl. Let me take you away. You see, I'm free. I want you to be. Let me take you away, 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 Let me say I think I love you. Let me say I think you're fine. I guess I'm always dreaming of you. Hey, say I'm glad you're mine. Little girl, I think I love you. Little girl, I think you're fine. Little girl, please come with me. Little girl, I'm glad you're mine. Little girl,
There's Beckett then, the single they released many, many years ago. Back in the 70s, of course, one of the Northeast's best-known bands. They had a huge following in the region. Toured, of course, nationally, all over Europe. Toured with people like Slade, Rod Stewart, Thin Lizzy. Now, more than 25 years after their last live appearance, they're back with a series of gigs in the Northeast. And the guys are with us this afternoon: Terry Slessor, Kenny Mountain, Arthur Ram, and Billy Campbell. Minus a drummer, I think, Terry.
Yes, Alan couldn't make it today. I think he's rehearsing, but I hope he is anyway.
So, we were just saying while the song was playing there that there have been quite a few different people in and out of Beckett over the years when you were originally together. But the lineup, as you've got back together, is about the sort of original lineup. Is that it?
I would say it's probably the most original. We've had about 37 members over the years, unfortunately, which is another long story. But the most sort of workable outfit was this outfit. This is what people remember. from there in the 70s.
It's not the original outfit. This is the second outfit. But this was the one that was the most famous, I would think, in the Northeast, and that did a lot of the work.
So when did the band first start then?
The band first started actually in around about 1970. Alan and myself, we were in a band called West One, and that finished. And I decided that I wanted to start a band myself. So we went round to Bill Campbell's, and he said, yes, I'd do it. We went over to a guy in Hebden. His name is Les Tones, very good guitar player, and he decided that he would join us. And then we found a fella from Newcastle, Rob Turner from the Chapel House Estate, great singer. And we started and we rehearsed in a place in Southsea St Francis's Church Hall, and then we got on the road and we were doing all the Bailey clubs, and unfortunately he got knocked down and died in a hit-and-run accident. So
that's Rob Turner.
Rob Turner, which was a very sad thing. And so we asked Terry, and when Terry came in, the whole thing just seemed to just take off straight away.
And what, I mean, you recorded a lot of your own material. I mean, Kenny wrote a lot of the songs, didn't you? But in the early days, what sort of stuff were you doing?
Oh, everything from... We were sort of the professional cover artists, really, from Moody Blues initially.
Yeah.
Moody Blues, Slade, and we should try and get hold of the record, the singles that was released. We should try and get them rehearsed and into the act before they were in the charts, you know. Remember, we did Maggie May 6 weeks before it was actually released as a single.
Did you?
Yeah, what happened
was, didn't it?
I bought the album and we were just listening and I thought, well, what's on here? And we listened to Maggie May and it hadn't even been released as a single.
In fact, that was a B-side, wasn't it,
Yeah,
to start with, when they did put it
and
out
I said
as
to
a
Terry,
single.
Terry, listen,
Yes.
this is you singing here. You can sing like this. And we're doing Maggie May, and I thought, well, you know, and I think we've probably done more for Rod Stewart than...
A lot of people thought it was our song, because initially it's the mandolin on Maggie May, which is, you know, is the guy out of
Ray Jackson.
escapes me, which it says on the album.
Ray Jackson.
Ray Jackson, of course.
Whose name escapes me.
Yeah, which I thought was an awful thing for Rod to do on an album.
He put that on the back of the album.
Right,
didn't he?
yeah. So he gets a mention now anyway. Well done to Ray, absolutely marvellous. So Arthur went out to the music shop and bought a mandolin, in inverted commas. But I don't think we actually paid for that yet. We've still got it.
Shh, don't tell everybody.
But we learned.
It's quite a big part of the show. We've got like...
We've got three songs now with mandolin.
Yeah. Lady Eleanor, we're doing Lady Eleanor, tribute to Linda Swan, and Alan's a marvellous song. Maggie May itself, as I said.
Mandolin Wind we're doing.
Mandolin Wind of the same album. So it's sort of, it's not, we were never heavy rock anyway, we were always sort of pop rock. We sort of keeping it in that vein.
We're putting quite a big emphasis on harmonies. There's a lot of good singing quality, so we're pushing the harmonies a lot, you know.
So, but I mean, the band really took off in the mid-70s, though, didn't it?
Yeah, mid-70s it was.
72-ish.
Yeah, 72,
Went to
70.
Germany, we did the Hamburg stint, you know.
That was great. We went to the top 10 club in Hamburg, had a chance to go there, which was a great experience.
Long hours,
A lot
hard
of the
work.
top bands in the past have gone there and, you know, did well. So that was
8 hours a night, haven't you?
That was
Half
very
an hour
long,
on the half
very
an hour.
long stints.
8 hours a night from 8 till 4 o'clock in the morning. So.
Happy days.
It was, and you lived the full lifestyle, I guess, out there, did you?
Yes, we saw everything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we did everything, but we saw everything.
Bradfurst and mustard, you mean? Yeah. But then Jeff Doherty, I mentioned him last time I was here, Jeff Doherty sort of discovered us. He was promoting all the bands up here at the City Hall, Led Zeppelin Free, and as you mentioned the names there, Slade, Thin Lizzy. Well, Jeff was responsible for, he promoted those bands as the major headliners, and we inherited the support act syndrome. So that's how we got to play with all the big acts. And then we eventually got a recording contract through Warner Brothers, and hence Little Girl came out and the album came out. There's a second album sort of halfway finished, isn't it? With Arthur on as well.
That was from the, we signed with CBS, but that didn't come to fruition. Which
We might finish that off one of these days, you know what I mean? Go back in and finish it off.
But don't tell CBS.
So you split up in '74, and how come there were so many different people in and out of the band over those years? I mean, if you said there's like 37 people at one time or another in and out of the band.
As the years passed on, we actually started the band in 1988 as under a pseudonym of Perfect Strangers. And we actually got some of the members that started again, and all of a sudden we'd do one gig with the same members as Beckett, then the next night we'd do it as Perfect Strangers, just how it took our fancy. But through the record companies, all the politics and everything, some people had to stand down, other members became within the lineup, and it just became like the traffic all the time, in and out, in and out. Trying to keep the band on the road, keep going with different members, and that's why there's so many different lineups.
See, the
That's
trouble
definitely a
came when
record.
the success came, didn't it? I mean, it was great when we were playing 7 nights a week around the club. But as soon as we got the Range Rover syndrome, the PA and everything sort of like that's associated with the record company, everybody seemed to go a little big-headed, you know what I mean? Everybody was sort of, not just sort of like,
I think
away
so.
from one.
Record company
Just took away
politics
from
came
one.
in. We were very young and naive, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a case of if you weren't getting this out, you must have thank God for that. You know, it was a case of who was next, and it just became a roller coaster of changing people. And the thing was, to this day, we've regretted it in terms of because that was
Exactly.
the chemistry of this outfit was absolutely marvelous.
That's the beauty of it. We got the same.
And when we changed it, it destroyed the chemistry. For inverted commas, oh, get a better bass player than the one we have. You know, no disrespect to Billy, but there was a guy who was like almost a lead guitar player on the bass, you see. And we thought, oh great, he's going to add to the sound of our group. But in actual fact, it didn't. It changed the sound of the group when we didn't become Beckett's sound disappeared. Hence, on the album, if you do hear this album, we've got the symphony orchestra on it, which is just like, you know, where's that? Where's Beckett in the middle of all this? You know.
Yeah,
It
well,
went
it's,
a bit
it's,
haywire.
it's a very sort of OTT 70s production job, isn't it? Some of it.
You know, yes. Yeah.
So in 1974, we were actually going down to London and we stayed at a place in Marble Arch. You remember that flat in Marble Arch? And we stayed down there because we needed to be in a central place. Up here, we might as well be in Iceland because none of the big people will come up to see the band. We had to go down to London. So we decided to rent this place out in Marble Arch, which was just, well, beyond belief. And it had no bed. There was no bed at all. There was just a bed settee. And there was 6 of us sleeping, and we had to sleep on the floor or in a chair. We were doing that for months and months and months. And of course, there was no money coming through.
That's why we were recording,
And
weren't we? So we weren't making any money from gigs.
So when the money doesn't come through, the members go, hey, I can't hack this.
That's
I
true,
can't
yeah.
stay here. You know, I've got other commitments. And so that's why they leave the band.
And I'll never sleep with these guys again.
You're getting a bit old for that. Kenny, you wrote a lot of the stuff that you recorded,
Yeah,
didn't you?
most of it, yeah.
Yeah. Are you happy with the way it sounds still?
Actually, I'm being over the moon at the way they. Oh yeah, they're quite good songs. I mean, obviously I could sort of like criticise them all day, but they're not bad. They still stand the test of time. Plus, I mean, the way the rehearsals have been going, it's been very good. Been very. Actually, I hate to say it, but I'm quite a bit excited about it. You know, it's very
Positive.
good and very positive. Plus, we put a lot of work in, so hopefully it'll come to fruition.
So why did it all sort of fold up in the mid-70s then?
Mid-70s, it was, we were running out of personnel. And as you know, we supported Free a lot of time. That's where I met Paul Kossoff. And we asked Paul Kossoff to join Beckett. You know, that's how sort of bravado we were, you know. And he was in a bit of a
join
state.
for a
Well, that's
while.
right. He was in a bit of a state at the time, and he agreed to come up. And in principle, we brought him through to Sunderland. Jeff Doherty got him off the drugs and stuff and helped him to regain his health. And when he did, he realised he didn't want to be up here. There's Arthur says, you're just too far away from where you're supposed to be in terms of recording and stuff. And he asked me to come back to London with him to form a group. And we were really on the last legs anyway. The record company, CBS would sign to at that time, they sort of demanded that I left Beckett to join Mott the Hoople at the time, because Ian Hunter had left. And I was sort of put into a contractual situation whereby Beckett were going to be shelved and I was going to go to Mott the Hoople. Well, I didn't fancy that at the time, and Kossoff was the alternative. So I decided to form the group with Kossoff, formed it called Backstreet Crawler, and that was the end of the Beckett in that era.
Of course, it didn't help at the time when we were rehearsing with Kossoff. he tried to smash his guitar over the head of CBS Records, who just happened to be producing the album at the time and all.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, isn't it? No, we'll just take a quick break. We've got some news headlines to get in here. We'll come back and talk some more, play something off the album in a moment. Beckett with us this afternoon. 4:31. All those years ago. And there were a lot of famous names, weren't there?
Well, that's funny. Back the Reading Festival, which was 74, I think we played on the Saturday. I mean, Arthur was reeling off the list. The 10cc were on the bill. Traffic were on the bill, topping the bill that night. And I remember Stevie Winwood came into our tent and congratulated us on we went down a bomb at the Reading Festival because we did Rain Clouds and Rolling Thunder and the heavens opened, do you remember? Just started chucking it down. And but we got a great reaction. Funny enough, I think the best reaction we got was we did Southern Man, Neil Young's song, which is a 3-part harmony, which we're doing in the current act. Brilliant 3-part harmonies, and it just the whole play. I'll never forget. They all just stood up. This big, marvelous reception, and Stevie Wonder came in very gracefully said, "Well done, you know, you brought the festival to life," which was great. And Alex Harvey was there, topping the bill the next night, and he, being very, very astute, saw how well we did, and invited me, Kenny, and Arthur to join him on the next night when he was topping the bill. So a bit of it rubbed off on him. Very, very clever lad.
33-day tour with him, haven't we?
Yeah, we just done 33 days.
Clever stuff. I mean, those were the days of the big days of the festivals, weren't they?
Oh yes, I think it was probably only 20,000 people there then, but I mean that was probably the biggest thing at the time. I think now I don't know if it's at the same site anymore, but it's called the Leeds and Reading Festival. So I mean now it's got a different name.
Sure.
But I think there's more. It's a bigger crowd now, I think. But 20,000 was enough at the time for 5 Geordie lads to sort of walking on stage in front of that lot. It was quite exciting.
So you got involved with Backstreet Crawler, and we've talked before about all the stuff you've done, Terry. What about the rest of the guys? I mean, have you been in and out of the business over the years?
You went to Germany, didn't you?
Yes, I after Beckett in 1974, after the Reading Festival, well, it was actually Christmas of 74, I decided to leave the band, and this is when actually about a few months later the band did break up, and this is when Terry went with Paul Kossoff. And I managed to get a job over in Germany with a band called the Les Humphrey Singers.
Oh gosh, that's a bit different, wasn't it?
Singers. I don't know if you remember them. I don't think anybody in Britain remembers them, but they were absolutely massive in Germany. It was a 14-piece singing group, all just 14 singers, and I was just one of the backing musicians. I had a chance to go there, and they actually toured constantly for about 4 months, and it was very, very grueling, but it was like a great lifestyle for me because I was flying everywhere, I was staying in the top hotels, and I was acting, it was like being a pop star from nothing to being a pop star, but I was actually not really in the band, I was just a backing musician. Like I was, say, somebody in an orchestra in the back row, you know, but it was great. I stayed there for 3.5 years until they broke up, but that was great there, really enjoyable. Bill's been, he's a builder now.
Yeah, well, actually, after Beckett, I played in a three-piece, and
That's right.
but it was never the same. After the group, the chemistry, as Terry said, the chemistry was something that, you know, I found it could never be replaced. I went into business, and I've done quite well business-wise, but 3 months ago when the phone rang, it was strange, because 3 months ago when the phone rang, I thought, well, you know, I don't know about this. Went to see the guys again, and it was just magic, because we had a few drinks, and there was no mention of reforming. Then when the subject did come up, I think Arthur was a little bit apprehensive as well, because it always seemed